director, Basement Animations. He is the founder and CEO of the Basement Animation Studio in Lagos, specializing in animation and audio-visual production with 15 plus years experience. His notable achievements include the Best International Film Award, Halim's Vote, at the Toronto Animations Arts Festival International 2022. Please give him a round of applause. He's a member of the International Academy of Television Arts and Science and a founder of the Animation Nigeria AN, committed to advancing Nigerian animation industry. Third, we have obviously our convener, Ijoma, now who is the founder of Nigerian International Film and TV Summit. Please give a round of applause again. We have Mr. Ike Naiboy. He is the CEO, LP House of Creative. He's a celebrated Nigerian film director, screenwriter, producer, and culture entrepreneur. His film, No U-Turn, received a special mention at the Berlinale 2022 Artistic Bravery Award at Durban and won Best Documentary at the AMA and AFRIV. He's the founder and CEO of LP House of Creatives and passionate about communications. He debuted his first film, False, garnered multiple awards while in the 2017 film Sink or Swim and won Best Narrative Feature at the Newark International Film Festival. Please give him a round of applause. And last but not least, I have Brian Wilson. He is the co-founder and creative director of Zero Gravity Studios. Brian is the founder of the creative director of the Zero Gravity Studios in Lagos. He holds a master's degree in computer animation from Bournemouth University. His short films have been selected for international film festivals. Brian has spoken at conferences, judged animation festivals in 2021, won the Digital Lab Africa Award of Animation Story and Amina's Journey, and is passionate about storytelling, animation, Web3 for positive social impact in Africa. Please give him a round of applause. Now, we have quite a bit of specialists in animation in our midst here on the panel, and I think this is quite crucial, especially when we have someone like Christophe from the French Embassy, who they are also talking about the impact the French Embassy has had in the Nigerian film industry. And one of the core issues we've all faced is the growth or the need for the growth for animation in our space. We haven't had quite a bit of that, and we haven't had the expertise or the required skills for this very important part of our film industry. So I'll probably like to have each person take a few minutes to tell us what they do and how, what kind of expectations they might have from the French Embassy, and see what we can do to partner and get better skill sets for this very important segment of film industry. So I'd like to start with, I'm not sure who would like to go first. Let me start from my far right. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Let me let you go ahead, Mr.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, what I do, I'm a filmmaker and a cultural entrepreneur, and working with the French Embassy has been quite an amazing experience. What I like particularly most about working with the French Embassy is that they understand the importance of the developmental level of the industry, which is something that it's always lacking. I remember coming up as a filmmaker, there was not a lot of opportunities. Everybody was pretty much left on their own, and you were just supposed to find your way, so to speak. But with the French Embassy and the Story Me Academy, where I'm a principal coach, we've been able to raise, like, literally from the street, young people who just, first of all, just had an idea to make a film, and that was all they had. No experience, no contact with the industry, and we were able to, work with them from that level. And today we have some of the films, short films, touring and, international film festivals from the first cohort, which just ended in December last year. And we just started a new cohort this January. And with the support of the French Embassy, we've taken these young filmmakers to international film festivals. And the idea that Christophe had was, let's put them on a global stage so that they would learn what it means to produce and to tell African stories at a global level. And it was always an amazing experience to watch how these young people blossom, from just being shy to pitch their own project on a Zoom meeting, for instance, to interacting with international co-producers and discussing big deals, and so it's been an amazing experience.
Thank you so much, Ike. Let me come to you. Please give him a round of applause. Encourage him. It's never so easy to speak. Mr. Johnson, let me let you come in here. Tell us the kind of work you do and how you've been partnering with the French Embassy so far.
I'm a producer in the animation industry. I run a studio based in Lagos. I'm doing that for the last 16 years. I think for what the French Embassy has brought since 2021, we've been doing with the French Embassy, it has really brought some sense of collaboration within the industry. I'll say our industry is usually just ignored. Whenever they talk about animation, we're just like as if we're an add-on or a plug-in in the industry for advertising or for film production. But there's a big opportunity for the industry. And I think what the embassy has also done, which has had a strong impact, is visibility in the international market. So we attend the Annecy Film Festival every year, and we've been doing that for the last 3 years. And we've seen serious impact in the industry and growth for animation studios, individuals, and we usually run development programs for producers, and it has given them perspective of not just in the aspect of just thinking like a creative, but thinking as a business person. So I think that has been of strong impact. I think we have a short 3 minutes video that we like to play that just shows one of our trips of last year. And if they can play that.
Yeah, I'm going to actually have them play. We have 3 videos to play, so we'll pause on the conversation and then watch those videos really quickly. Please, let's start with the video from Brian. Please give a round of applause to the French Embassy. We see a lot of work that has been done so far to support Nigerian movie producers and animators. Let me come to you, Brian, because I'd like to also find out from you, what kind of support have you received so far from the French Embassy?
Okay, so yeah, my name is Brian. Like you mentioned, Zero Gravity Studios. I'm co-founder and creative director, and also a trustee in Animation Nigeria. I would say that, since animation is film, not too many people look at it that way, and I'm glad you kind of started with that, because it's really important to know animation is film. It's just simply a different medium. I mean, if there's anything that's a given, it's that Africans are great at storytelling. Everyone the world over kind of recognizes this fact. And we've just chosen a different medium from, the Nollywood industry, which kind of has a 30-year or so head start, So, I mean, we kind of knew that we needed to have some kind of partners to accelerate what we were doing, and hopefully get to catch up with what Nollywood is doing. And, the French Embassy has kind of been instrumental in that regard, because we started going to Annecy, in about 2019. And since then, the French Embassy has sort of helped in that regard, with things like, I know MB mentioned earlier, we would have structured programs that kind of got people ready for the film market, because the Annecy Festival, if in case there's anyone in the room that doesn't know what that is, it's the biggest film festival for animation in the world, and it just so happens to take place in the city of Annecy in France every year. And what that did for us is essentially brought us in contact with the biggest people in animation across the globe. So, I mean, in a session like this, the way you guys are seated, I was sitting beside a top executive in Disney and didn't even know it, and it was a funny story because I dropped my pen and he essentially picked it up for me and handed it to me. And, when we were done, I said thank you and we started talking, and I found out that this was actually a top executive at Disney, and for me it was, it was quite amazing to have to, or to be able to exchange, details with that kind of person, and then meet people like the vice president of a section in Disney, and then, hear have feedback on the work that you're doing. So
Right.
for me, for my studio personally,
Right.
we work on a bunch of IP, and you know, I've been able to meet people that are able to give me some really great feedback.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's the same for a lot of the people that went to ANSI.
Fantastic. So, I mean, I have a lot of questions for Christoph. But before I go to Christoph, I'll come to you, Juma, in a second. But let me just call for the next video so that we can then have a more robust conversation around it. Can I have the last video, please? Media, we need audio. Or is the video running? It's not yet running. Okay, we can continue since you're still having issues. Let me come to you, IJ, because I mean, you've been supporting this industry forever, and one of the reasons why you probably wanted this specific segment was because of the opportunities available in animation, the kind of opportunities the French Embassy is offering. Let me ask you, what are the things that you've seen so far that the French Embassy is doing, and what opportunities do you see out there that many can take advantage of that are here today?
All right, thank you very much. First of all, it feels so good to be a speaker. Yes, and yeah, it's been a very interesting journey for me since 2018 that we've been working with the French Embassy to create a bridge between Nigeria and French companies in the audiovisuals. So we started the NITV Summit, which is the Nigerian International TV Summit in France, in Paris, in 2018. And since then, we've been taking delegations, working closely, of course, with the embassy. And we've, been able to close the gaps. We've seen French companies working closely, providing different services in Nigeria. And we've seen Nigerian companies also being able to do a whole lot more in France as well, with the support and the assistance of the French embassy. So it's very interesting that we are not at that level of support from our own government, but we see people who, unfortunately, who understand the space and who are putting in the investment. So, for example, the delegation, we are working together to take a delegation of 20 companies to MIPCOM. MIPCOM, in Cannes, is the mother of all markets globally. It's the biggest convergence of, distributors and content distributors to where you come to buy and, sell rights. And, it's intentional. When Christoph told me the investment in that, it's mind-blowing, right? But again, it's because they've seen the potential and understand that giving Nigeria a pavilion. So I organized the first Nigerian pavilion in MIPCOM in 2013. And, that was when working with the NBC. So we took, I also organized the delegation, and we took over a decade ago. And my regret is that we didn't build on that. Because if we were intentional, this is 10 years, right? We should have companies from Nigeria who are strong enough, because to go to MIPCOM is not cheap, right? We should have had companies from Nigeria. Like he said last year, there was no representation. We are the second biggest in the world, and yet there was no representation. So if we start now again to build on, bringing people together and helping, like they have done successfully with ANSI. So last year I flew out to ANSI also, just, out of curiosity, because I feel there's something happening in the animation space that some of us are not really in tune with. So, and it's been a very, very interesting journey. And for us going forward with what is going to happen in MIPCOM, with the companies who are going with us there, we hope to be able to create that platform, that opportunity for Nigerian companies to do international business.
All right, so I'd like to come to Christoph in a minute, but I mean, while the others are listening in, it's important for you to also think of some of the probably challenges you're facing in your own space, because lots of people are here who are in the film industry and they also like to see how they can tap into it. But it's not, you can't just jump into the French business and say, please give me support. So let me come to you, Christoph. The basic question is why? I mean, I know you've been supporting NIFS for years in film distribution and in production, but why animation at this time? What exactly were you looking to achieve? And what kind of investment is available or support is available for filmmakers who are here today?
So actually, the French embassy, the French embassy in the world, they are supporting a lot of industry. For example, in Latin America, they are also supporting a delegation of animators from Latin America, and they are paying also their trip to ANSI. So why not Nigeria? Okay, because I think that there are incredible talents and there are incredible story to tell. Like as I said, in the video. So I think it's very important to highlight your story, to highlight it's a very new industry, and there are a lot of studio in Nigeria where we have really some talents. The thing is that sometimes there is a lack of skills, of education, and we need to bring them to international market, to find the production, to find the financing, because as there are not so many local funds here. So to co-produce, to have this story happen, to have this story on the screen, they have to co-produce with international producer. So that's very important to bring them to international market. But what I would like to say is that not everybody is ready to go to market. You have to be trained before. You have to pitch your project, and it's not easy. That's why for documentary, for animation, before bringing them to international market like Sunny Side of the Duck, like FIPADOC, like MIFA in Nancy, we are training them. We are training some project holders so that they can have a very efficient pitch and convince the international stakeholders. Because sometimes pitching a project is very difficult. It's no use going to market if you cannot pitch your project. It's like a script, If you don't have a good script, it's not possible to. So it's very important, and we have other projects in terms of education.
Yeah.
So I will announce it later because we are working on it. Okay.
All right. So let me ask. I'm not sure who I'm going to direct this question to, but I'd like somebody to take it up. Animation, they say, is hard, it's expensive. People rather not just touch it. So, but question is, somebody's here listening and saying, okay, how do I even start? What kind of training is available locally? If I even start thinking of French Embassy, what can we do for ourselves? What are you doing in your own space to see how we can get more young people interested in animation? And is there a potential for growth, revenue generation? Because at the end of the day, we're trying to make money. I mean, is there a market for it? I mean, are we ready to actually put it out there and people would actually watch the content we've provided? Ryan? Okay.
Okay, so to your question, I think, it's for me, I see it as a no-brainer. There is definitely a market for it. If you look at animation films globally or vis-a-vis actual live-action films, you'll see that animation films actually make more money sometimes than live-action films and have less budgets. So there are potentials to make more profits from animation films than there are from live action films. So the only thing, like you rightly stated, is the fact that yes, it is difficult to produce. I mean, for one thing, it takes talent, skill, and like I tell my team a lot of the times, animation is a team sport. You just really do need a large team to be able to produce anything really substantial, which is another reason why we look to co-production, because those are some of the gaps that can be filled. But there are things, I mean, like you asked, if there's anyone in the room that wants to get into it, there are things that can be done immediately. Like, for instance, you can start to develop your scripts. You can start to develop your characters. You can start to put together a Bible or a pitch Bible, which is typically the first step in the industry globally for producing anything in animation. You do need to have a proof of concept before you then go into it. You could even build a trailer with a less than massive team,
Okay, something Christoph said I'd like to touch on before we wrap up is the fact that before you go to the market, you have to have something. Now, how do I get that something? Before I go to an international market, what's the basic requirement? What's that stuff that we must have before I get to the point I'm going to the international markets?
I think the most important thing is just knowing having a good story and having able to communicate that story clearly to whether another producer or a distributor or a broadcaster. I think that's where people usually miss it. They're just like, I have this great idea, but when it's put together, it's not really detailed. It's not clear what the intention of the story is. So usually when we do those programs with the French embassy, we have like a development process of how you can put your pitch together and have your idea very clear, and whether it's going to be in the form of TV series or it's going to be in form of film. And usually animation can be monetized over and over again. So you want to create something that you don't just make money once, just like you could do that with film too. You could create a film, then you could create a series from it, then you could create a game from it, then you could create comics from it, merchandise from it. You want to be sure that your content outlasts just one particular space and can keep growing and expanding for revenue.
Somebody talked about Nigerian government doing something to support. What can they do exactly? Because even the Nollywood is yet to get the adequate support it requires. So animation is too far-fetched, I would say.
I'll say we are hoping. I'll say we are hoping because thank you from the Nollywood industry. If they support something that is already existing and is already making so much money and has great impact, we take that cue. But I will say, nevertheless, in the last 6 months, the Arts and Culture Ministry has been involved. They actually had someone this year attend the Annecy Film Festival to actually take a look at what we've been doing. We prefer not doing presentations and PowerPoints. We said they should come and see. So someone came along and I think they were amazed at what they were doing in the market, but also they were involved all this while.
Okay, so let's pretend Christophe is not here. I'm going to put my back to him. Are there pitfalls? If we come to you, Ike, let's assume that he's not here. Like, when you're partnering with international organizations, there's always that booby trap somewhere. This happens, we support you, and something happens. So is that going to happen with French Embassy? He's not looking nowhere. He's not here.
Well, at least we've done 2 trips, and I have never been stranded.
Oh.
And it's been like, I'm actually like quite like amazed, like Ijoma said, like something that our government is not looking at, they're not supporting, and this is like can open to a totally different conversation, which I don't want, but I really, really think that the French embassy should be applauded.
Please give them a round of applause.
Please. Thank you.
All right.
There's something, you can say like, okay, diplomatically, the French embassy is here to promote the French interest and stuff. And so that's a brilliant thing to realize that there is a way to build an industry here that can connect with the industry in France, and that we can do big projects, that we can sell to the world. Basically, that's the way I see it, and I think it's an amazing, partnership.
All right, my time is up, so I'll just take 2 questions from everyone out here, because I know that 1 or 2 of you might be interested in this, in animation, and it might be an opportunity for you to see how to get the support you need from the French Embassy. Let me just take 2 questions. Anybody? Oh, Prof. I saw you. Hello, please, can I get the mic to my Prof? Over here, please. To my right. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is E.K. Obiaya of the School of Media and Communication. Well, I'm aware that the animation industry is a billion-dollar industry globally. And, well, Nigeria is also said to be one of the top ones in Africa. But speaking to persons in this space, a big challenge they have pointed out is a lack of the workforce. So I would like to know, well, with all of this collaboration, ouch.
Sorry. Go ahead. Hello?
Okay. As part of what is being done to grow this industry, I think it.
Yes, who wants to take that?
I think I can answer that. I mean, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. There's a reason why the end credits for animation films scroll longer than, you know, the ones for movies. So, I mean, one of the things that Animation Nigeria does is we try to build capacity by handling. I mean, we're a nascent industry. We're not even sure we can call ourselves an industry at this point, but we are doing what we can. And we know that we have to take it in baby steps because we essentially are babies. We just started. Left to the industry alone, I keep on saying it. I mean, and given the opportunity, I allowed it. You know that Nigerian animators are like the beast because many of us are self-taught. I mean, I'm not self-taught. I was one of the people who was able to go to school and learn animation, but most of the industry, I'm going to use that word because that's where we're going, is self-taught. You know, and for what they've been able to do or what we've been able to do on our own, it's amazing. Now, one of the things we do, like I said, as Animation Nigeria, is capacity building in terms of looking at studios who are building teams and building their own in-house structures and see how we can help, you know, because there are globally recognized curriculums that can speed things up. So what we do is try to provide resources. I mean, it's difficult, and it's one of the things that we discussed, that the best way to go about it is obviously not converging to bring people together in a room because that's a slower way. I mean, the whole world has moved on to e-learning and everything. So one of the things we do is try to reach out to people who are doing stuff like that and see how we can help them build capacity in terms of developing a curriculum that works and will make things faster and help build the industry. I mean, we're also trying to discuss this. I mean, to be fair, we've had these kinds of discussions with the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy as well. So those are things we're doing.
I mean, I would really love to have another session about this because I think animation is so crucial because even young kids develop characters. These are things they imbibe as children, and we all grew up with Superman. We all grew up with all these various things that taught us subliminally.
Absolutely, and I need to add that one of the things we all have done, you know, especially the core team or the trustees in Animation Nigeria, I believe every single one of us as individual studios have held summer camps for kids because we realize that you have to start early and build, you know, because if you start early, then people have an interest from when they're young and you can have people going into that industry.
One question and we're done. Oh, yes, sir. Please. Can I have the mic to him, please? Can someone get the mic to him? There's a mic behind you. He's coming, don't worry. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Hello. So these guys here are like brothers to me. My name is Francis Y. Brown. I'm from Ghana. Mike.
We can hear you very clearly. Okay. Go ahead, please.
So I've been going to ANSI for the past 10 years.
Okay.
I can say I'm one of the first West African animators to ever go to the festival and came back to write to French embassy that it was just myself and I was seeing a lot of Europeans around, so what's happening? We need our numbers, right? So it started with official selection, blah, blah, blah. But over the years, one thing that I've realized is that anytime we see the big films winning the awards or getting the big funds, it is mostly co-production. And something that I've been talking with my brother Johnson for a very long time now, because we belong to the same societies, MIPCOM jury and also the Emmys. What are you guys doing about the fact that we go to ANSI, we'll be sitting opposite to each other, and we are not discussing collaborations and also how we can bring some of these knowledge that we go there together back home and make sure we create it within ourselves, even if we're not getting the support that we are getting. And thanks to the French Embassy, they've done very well for us over these years. And secondly, I'd like to also, this is an appeal. I'm very happy that our cultural minister, cultural and arts minister is here, and also our film authority CEO is also here. And Christophe, who is the regional. So this time around, it's not for Nigeria, it's just regional. How best you can all collaborate and rock your brains around how you can also push us in terms of the Ghanaian film community to such platforms like the MIPCOM that Nigeria is now going. You know, I'll be going because I'm a jury member, but I'm just a one man. It needs to be a country movement, you know. And I'm happy that our new minister is here. And once he's here, it's a testimony that he's interested in our efforts. Thank you.
Like it. Thank you so much. Collaboration. Who would like to take that? Christophe?
I think from my own experience, going over the years to markets and any markets, South Africa, blah, 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 going different places, I think one thing I've realized is the mindset. You know, the mindset when we come back home, there's a mindset of self-doubt, not enough. And I think that has affected perspective of even collaborations with other surrounding countries. I think that has to change and has to gradually, because we had this conversation this last annum, how we could do something together as studios, and which is the reality, in the sense that if we want to co-productions, we should be able to do co-productions with our neighbors also, and build that with partnerships, whether it's in Europe or whether it's specifically in France, and how we can enable ourselves and really draw from the resources that we already have within the continent. So I think it's a mindset thing, and even in perspective, when we use the word co-production, sometimes we always think it always has to shoot out of the continent. Meanwhile, it can actually just work within and also help build the revenue within the continent. So I think it's a perspective thing. For me, going over the years, I think it was 2019, I just changed my perspective of how we can do collaborations, not just outside, but within. Like presently, my own studio, we have like 3 studios that we're doing collaborations within Nigeria. And it's just an effort to try to make sure that we are not practicing something or we're doing something that is working against us in the future.
We have to wrap up on this, but I really like the conversation because I think it should birth a bigger conversation on how we can actually have a product strategy in this industry. The reason is because Nollywood, everybody does their little films in their little pockets. But animation in itself doesn't have to be in little pockets. It can actually be an Africa-wide concept such that, because when we were growing up, we knew Mickey Mouse. We didn't know which country Mickey Mouse was from. It's more like we need to create ideologies. We need to create characters that young people, African characters, that can be exported globally. It doesn't really matter if it's from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Tanzania. There's got to be something more concerted in animation that gives the world globally. See, okay, this is Africa. This is what Africa looks like. So we need to birth that outside. So we shouldn't do the individuality that we've done in Nollywood and in other markets. But I think we've had a good conversation. Let me let IJ wrap this up for us because I know that you really wanted to express the opportunities that are available within French, which you've seen, and give others that opportunity. So I'd like you just to wrap up this segment for us.
Thank you, Morayo. It's very interesting because I was actually thinking of curating a session on animation, and we've been able to achieve so many things with this session, highlighting the place or the growth of the animation industry in Nigeria. And of course, I always tell Christophe, I say, Christophe, why do you like animation more than Nollywood? I think he has this very strong attachment because he's been very, very aggressive in pushing. And these guys sitting down here, they're very strategic. You don't get to see them everywhere, but honestly, there are people who are really into positioning themselves to do global business. And it's quite exciting also to be able to work with the embassy on the other side, on the live action side, Like MIPCOM, of course, is all live action and helping us to push that narrative, to create the platform where Nigerian companies can actually go, producers, and of course those who have catalogs. So for example, for MIPCOM in October, we are specific about taking companies who have a catalog. So it's not like you made one film or you made two films and you want to go to the market. No, you need to start from somewhere, right? And then be able to say, okay, I have a catalog of 10 films, I have a catalog of 20 films, because when they come to your booth and you say, oh, I have one film, they're like, are you serious? So you mean you flew all the way here just because of one film? So it's very important for us to also help people understand. So part of the things we're also going to do is, for me, just like he has done so well with ANSI, MIPCOM is like 14,000 people. So you need to understand what you're doing there. So we're also putting together plans to help people navigate, right? I said, and make sure that if you're going there, you have your meetings set up, right? You have your conversations pre-booked ahead of time. And then, of course, our branding also has to be on point, making sure everybody, you have your catalogs and a whole lot of things. And more, very important, helping people to understand B2B, because that is our strength. That is where we play in this industry. So yeah, it's a very good collaboration, and we're looking forward to, at the end, coming out to announce that, okay, we've been able to do deals that are in millions of dollars.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be
Thank
the
you so
icing.
much. Let's give a round of applause. Okay, Christoph, want to say something? Okay, go ahead. He wants to say one thing.
Animation, like documentary sector, are very new in Nigeria and in Ghana. So that's why I think that I have to focus more on that, on these sectors. But because, we have results. In animation, we have 2 co-production agreements with France, In documentary, we are starting, and we have a very good project that was pitched at sunny side of the dock, and it attracts the interest of a lot of French producers. So we are starting, okay? And I think that I do not forget Nollywood, because, I'm bringing each year during the biggest festival in November some French producer, and we have 2 co-production agreement between Nigerian producer and French producer. One of them is here, okay? It's La Raconteur Production, Shioma. So she can confirm. So that's why now, and of course, last year and now this year, we brought some Nigerian producer to a festival in the north of France, which is Cerimania, which is the biggest festival of TV series in the world now, okay? And I'm working on having a new delegation of Nigerian producer to Cerimania in Lille next year. So that's why I just wanted to mention that I do not forget Hollywood. And that's why, we decided to have a Nigerian delegation to MIPCOM this year, because I think that it's very frustrating to have to be the second industry in the world in terms of production and not having visibility during the MIPCOM, which is the biggest market of TV content in the world. That's it.
Thank you very much. Please give a round of applause to our panelists. It's been an enlightening conversation, and thank you so much for listening.